Hey guys, Lord here, back again with another edition of Flashback Fridays. What I have for you today is the Hasbro Marvel Legends Monster Venom Build-A-Figure Wave Carnage. As promised a couple of weeks ago when I did the Ultimate Green Goblin Wave Carnage, today we're taking a look at probably the superior of the two classic style Carnages we've gotten from Hasbro over the past few years. I'm not gonna lie. But before we get into the meat and taters of this review, since I no longer have the packaging for this figure, let's first take a look-see at, at least two of his accessories. I'll get into that in a minute here. Comes with the axe hand and the Freddy Krueger claw hand. Although I will say Freddy Krueger's claw was on the right arm, if I'm not mistaken, not the left. But you get the idea. Funny enough, this actually has the vertical... not horizontal hinge in it, so that's kind of cool. You can tilt it up and down. I hope that's vertical or not. Is this horizontal or is it vertical? I don't know. Doesn't matter. It's got the right freaking hinge in it, man. More than I could say for their grip hands. Then this hand, of course, has the standard hinge. Now, the other thing he came with, other than a back piece, of course, was a little Cletus Cassidy head, which I have somewhere, but in the midst of trying to make a custom Cletus Cassidy in prison attire with the DC Multiverse, is it Batman v Superman? Lex Luthor figure, I have misplaced my Cletus Cassidy head, so I do not have that here to show you, but to be real with you, it's not the best Cletus Cassidy head. I still think the best one comes with the Marvel Select figure. And honestly, I don't feel like tearing up my room just to find a head sculpt for what is to be a relatively short edition of Flashback Fridays, because we already looked at this figure. The only major difference is the accessories and the shade of red on this figure. So, taking a closer look at good old Cletus here. Looks great. This is an awesome figure. This is a desk piece, if I'm being perfectly honest. The other one will probably go on the shelf. This one might wind up on my desk. I'm not sure. This one or the one from the Venom Pool Wave, which we'll do a comparison to. I'll compare all three Carnages, so you get an idea which one suits your fancy the best. But I think this, for a classic Cletus Cassidy Carnage, is the best one. Is the color great? I don't think so, really. I think the first one had a better shade of red to it. This is fine. This isn't bad, but it's a little dark for me. And they don't match up on all the joints here, so the red's a little haphazard in places, but being honest, it could be worse. You know, we've gotten worse. This is essentially a re-release of a really solid figure to allow other people to get it that might have missed out on it. Because I don't know about you guys, but that first Carnage, that thing was a son of a bitch to find. I only saw one. I saw Toxin at a toy show, the variant of that Carnage, and yeah, never really saw the two in the store. So I'm glad I got them when I did. This one, on the other hand, this one went on freaking clearance at Target. So, you know, it is what it is. But as far as articulation goes, it's the same as the other one. I'm not going to cover it here. I will leave a link in the description below to that previous Carnage. But one thing to note, if I can get this untangled here, still has that stupid tendril backpack. His hips get significantly less range. Gets about half of what the other one got. Not quite sure what's up with that, but it is what it is, I suppose. Funny enough, they did tweak this recently. If you watch my Sleepwalker review from last week for the 10-year anniversary week-long marathon extravaganza, he had really good T-joints in the hips, so I don't know what's going on there. But it is what it is, I guess. As far as the head goes, it is easy enough to pop off, much like his predecessor from the Ultimate Goblin Wave. And, you know, I guess we'll show this. I normally don't do this on camera anymore, because I like to make my videos nice and short and sweet. But considering the fact that this video is already not going to be too incredibly long, I'll do it. There he is with his axe hand. looking really cool. I will say these are a little bit tough to pop out, so be careful. And then the other hand. Swap out for this Super Mega Claw here. Just get that in there. There we go. Now he can go fight the Dream Warriors, as it were. I would have liked the spear, or the knife hand he usually has, over this giant claw, but it is what it is. Hey, at least they gave us that. They could have not given us anything, so as much as I like the dog on Hasbro, I'll give him a pat on the back here. I do like that. Now, I do think at some point we are going to get like a retro card of this guy, and he's going to come with more stuff. Or, you know, a deluxe release. Much like Spider-Man or Venom, I think the characters just kind of lend themselves to deluxe releases, so I wouldn't be surprised if we do see that at some point. But at any rate, that is this Carnage in a nutshell. The articulation is the exact same as the other one, so again, I'll leave a link in the description below. It's the Bucky Cap body. You know what it is. You've seen it a million times. You probably have it a million times. But I just wanted to get a review of this guy out, because I don't think I ever reviewed this Monster Venom wave on my previous channel that I lost. Before I got hacked, I finished the wave, but I never reviewed it before I got hacked. So, you know, it is what it is. I want to put this up for archival purposes, I guess. Just to say, hey, I reviewed both versions of Carnage from Hasbro that are the classic interpretation of the character. So, there you go. You can't say I didn't. You can only say I did. So, with that being said, let's now move on and take a look at some size comparisons. First up, here's the Monster Venom Wave Carnage next to the Venom Pool Wave Carnage and Ultimate Green Goblin Wave Carnage. And as you can see, the Monster Venom Wave Carnage and Ultimate Green Goblin Wave Carnage are essentially the same figure with some color differentiation. The older release is much more bright and vibrant, whereas the more recent release is a little bit more dull and subdued, while the Venom Pool Wave Carnage is just its own animal. It's got its own unique body mold, as well as butterfly joints and better hip articulation. That said, even though these three figures came out at different periods of time, the weapon arms that come with the Monster Venom Wave Carnage are compatible with all three of these figures, even though the Ultimate Green Goblin Wave Carnage doesn't necessarily have interchangeable hands. A little bit of heat, a little bit of caution, you can swap them out with the weapon arms if you so choose. And last but certainly not least, we have our two regulars, the Mythic Legion's Brother Mandibulus, with its spawn as usual, towers over everyone. So with that being said, time to wrap things up, some final thoughts. Overall, and out of all of the Carnage Marvel Legends figures I've taken a look at on the channel thus far, if you are after a classic iteration of good old Cletus Cassidy here, then look no further. This one right here is by far the one you want to go after. And while he may not have the color I prefer for a classic Carnage, that goes to the Ultimate Green Goblin Wave Carnage. He does have the added accessories, and I do believe this one is a little bit more affordable than the Ultimate Green Goblin Wave one. Don't quote me on that, because I haven't looked him up in a long time, but last I checked, this guy loose complete was around 30 bucks or so. The other one was pushing 50 to 60. And let's face it, he just doesn't have the fun factor that this guy has going for him. And while I do really like the Venom Pool Wave Carnage, that one is probably my favorite Carnage just because of the unique body mold they gave that figure. It's a more modern interpretation of the character. It's not a tried and true classic rendition of good old Cletus Cassidy like we have here. And even though the colors are off a little bit, I still think that this is by far the best Marvel Legends Carnage we've gotten that represents a classic iteration of the character. So with that being said, hope you guys enjoyed this week's edition of Flashback Fridays. And if you are so inclined, please don't forget to comment, like, subscribe, and hit the bell so you know whenever I upload more reviews like this one. If you haven't already, please hit me up on Instagram at Overlord Productions. But as always, keep the comments civil, because the world sucks enough as it is, especially when you lose interchangeable heads. I mean, I've had a pretty good track record of not losing shit, and god damn it, I just went and lost something. So that being said, until next time, I'll catch you guys later.